What happened while we were away, brought to you by inflation. You knew it was going to be bad when the White House used this verbiage to get out ahead of today's numbers.
Because of the actions we've taken to address the Putin price hike, we are in a better place than we were last month. But we expect March CPI headline inflation to be extraordinarily elevated.
Well, we got the Consumer Price Index report this morning, and prices have soared 8.5% year over year. That's the highest mark since 1981. Anyway, about those Putin price hikes, U.S. intel officials told NBC recently they're just making stuff up about the conflict in Ukraine.
We're also told the intelligence wasn't very clear about what exactly was going on. Really interesting and unprecedented use of intelligence here, Allison.
Yeah, Ken, as you just said, not just intelligence here, unprecedented use. One U.S. official telling you it doesn't even have to be solid intelligence when we talk about it. It's more important to get out ahead of them. Putin specifically, before they do something, it's preventative.
CBS News reports over 150 financial transactions involving either Hunter Biden or his uncle James Biden's international business dealings were flagged as concerning by U.S. banks for further review. Joe Biden, your thoughts?
Imagine had the tobacco industry been immune to prostitute being sued. Come on.
There was a heck of a Friday evening news dump late last week. 2 men were acquitted by a jury in Michigan in the alleged plot to kidnap Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer back in October of 2020. The jury was hung on 2 other men allegedly involved as well. Essentially, this means a jury found the FBI entrapped at least 2 of these men into committing a crime against a prominent Democrat official while millions of Americans were already voting in the 2020 election. Also last week, a judge in D.C. acquitted an individual charged with misdemeanors for entering the Capitol during the events at the Capitol on January 6th, 2020. The defendant claimed police let him into the rotunda and had evidence his claims were correct. Meanwhile, in China, that's the sound of tens of thousands of Shanghai residents screaming in distress after the entire city was placed on a lockdown last week, apparently because of COVID. Videos have been surfacing on the regular of those who have purportedly taken their own life as extreme starvation hits the city of 26 million residents, all locked in their homes with apparently no plan on when they can come back out. The city of Philadelphia has reinstated its mask mandate as COVID cases in the Northeast begin another uptick. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi tested positive while we were gone, along with Attorney General Merrick Garland, a couple of congressmen, Adam Schiff and Joaquin Castro. So there's that. The largest individual shareholder of Twitter, Elon Musk, is not joining Twitter's board of directors after all. Musk's appointment to the board last week was apparently contingent upon him promising not to own more than 15% of the shares of the company. Musk's shirking of the board invitation is causing some to speculate if the billionaire is planning a more hostile takeover of the company. Yesterday, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis announced a new initiative aimed at helping fathers strengthen their families.
There was actually an article, a column in the New York Times that said, it was titled, "The Nuclear Family Was a Mistake." And you have other people that kind of poo-poo the idea of father. I just want to be sure in Florida, we are not going to be following this propaganda. We're going to put programs in place that support fathers and help families stay connected and engage with each other.
The $70 million measure funds programs to support fathers and help families stay connected. Groomer update, here's a random elementary school teacher.
Kids as young as 3 and 4 are actually aware of their gender identity, even if they don't have the language for it. Also very aware of who they like and who they don't like. Heterosexuality is pushed on our kids on a daily basis at a very young age. Media, through books. The first Disney movie that you saw. To say that pre-K through 3rd grade are not ready for such topics is actually internalized homophobia and transphobia. They're very much ready for these topics and are way more accepting than adults when it comes to discussing these topics.
A new Trafalgar Group poll shows nearly 70% of respondents say Disney's push to expose young children to sexual and gender ideas makes them less likely to do business with the company. And finally, a seminar on critical grooming theory. Here's Blaze TV's Ali Stuckey.
Welcome to our DEI training. DEI stands for Don't Entice Infants. That's really anti-grooming training. It's not enough to be not a groomer. One must be actively anti grooming. And really, those who are defending themselves against accusations of grooming are expressing their groomer fragility. This is just evidence that they are a groomer. It's important to know that silence is violence when it comes to the grooming of children. If you are not actively working to dismantle the systems of grooming that have been oppressing children, you are either complicit in systemic grooming or you are a groomer yourself. We need to know better so we can do better.
And that's what happened while we were away.